Welcome to Solve It Like a Marketer. Today, we are looking at gender roles in consumer behavior. Don't go away. So, gender identity is a very important component of consumer behavior, especially as it applies to a consumer's self-concept. Now, studies show that people tend to conform to a culture's expectations as it pertains to the norms of gender conformity. Now, of course, these norms change over time and greatly differ across societies. It's also unclear to what extent gender differences are innate versus culturally shaped. But what is for sure is that they're important when it comes to consumption decision making. Now, it's a fact, and a rather unfortunate one, that today's marketers still tend to reinforce cultural expectations regarding the correct way for boys and girls, men and women to look and act. So check out this pretty typical ad for action figures. Boys will be boys. But what about the girls? Action figures could be fun for everyone. Or how about this classic Barbie commercial? Looks like fun, right? But apparently boys are not allowed to partake in Barbie's shiny glow. Finally, a pretty typical beer commercial featuring the boys getting together after a game for some cool beers. But what about the women's team? Don't they get to drink beer as well? Or are they stuck with just a round of Shirley Temples? I think I made my point, but many marketing campaigns are in the habit of reinforcing stereotypes. Not helpful, but let's move on. Gender role identity is a state of mind as well as body. A person's biological gender, male or female, does not totally determine whether he or she will exhibit sex-typed traits or characteristics stereotypically associated with one gender or the other. Now, a behavior considered masculine in one culture might not be viewed as such in another. For example, the idea that males, especially in North America, need to show strength at all times and avoid touching the same sex is actually not so in some other cultures. Likewise, in North America, much of the wealth and power is centered around men. But in other cultures, women are at the top of the social hierarchy. So it's important to always bear in mind, if you are expanding your business outside your own country, what are the social norms in your culture, but what are the social norms in the countries that you're actually branching out to? Now, an interesting area worth mentioning is androgyny. Androgyny refers to the possession of both masculine and feminine traits. Therefore, androgynous people possess a mixture of characteristics that allow them to function in a variety of social situations. Androgyny can really open up new markets. Products don't need to be separated into one or the other. Marketers need to think outside the box and expand the reach of their target audience. Now, companies really have to get out of the habit of selling to either one gender or the other. Society is moving fast towards more of a blend in terms of products and how these are perceived by consumers. Another flourishing audience is the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender community as consumers. So, one study of readers of gay publications found that compared to heterosexuals, these readers are almost 12 times more likely to hold professional jobs, twice as likely to own a vacation home, and 8 times more likely to own a notebook computer. So there's also some research that found that a large number of this segment have a higher education, are more concerned about physical fitness and self-improvement, and are much more likely to be self-employed. So suffice to say, this is an extremely important audience who has disposable income to spend. Now, my challenge to you is to think about your product or service and determine if it's being targeted to a more male or female audience. Are you actually shooting yourself in the foot, as it were, by excluding the other? As I mentioned, our society is becoming more and more fluid by nature. So I think it's important that you can be inclusive, or at least not follow the standard marketing stereotypes approach. My final word on this is that as marketers, we need to be mavericks. We have the power to change public attitudes. If we choose to reinforce current attitudes that blue is for boys and pink is for girls, then we're not aiding society in progressing beyond current norms. We need to push boundaries. And this goes for all areas of marketing, from everyday physical products to movies and sports, and the list goes on. Only then can we help change societal attitudes for the better. If you'd like to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. We'll see you every week with a new video, so please stay tuned, and together, let's solve it like a marketer.